Yeah, it felt long. It always does, but everyone's waiting for this day to come, and it finally has, and now we get to play for real.
Neil and Nygaard, to start, it looks like tonight. Maybe you guys had a little bit of experience together. Just talk about the line, what those guys bring, and how you think it can work.
We don't have a ton of experience together, but Neil and I played one game. Nags and I have played no game, so it's definitely going to be a little bit of a feeling out process. But obviously he's a speedy guy. Real quick, gets in on the forecheck real hard. I'm looking forward to playing with him.
Connor, take us through camp a little bit with, you've got a new coach. Dave emphasized bringing down the goals against. I know you don't have a whiteboard here for X's and O's, but what's your sense of some of the structural changes that's going to help prevent goals?
Just got to be more defensively responsible, and that falls on the forwards as well. Obviously, D can do all they can, but it's on the forwards as well to make sure we're making smart plays all over the ice. We're coming back hard and supporting the D.
Would you say there's big tactical or structural changes from coach to coach, or it's more about just kind of execution?
It's nothing crazy. A lot of teams, a lot of coaches play the same type of structure. So there's obviously some little pieces here and there that have changed, but overall not too much.
Connor, lots have been made of the changes this year. What's your gut feeling on how it's different from last year and just how it's felt the last month or so?
It was obviously just new faces all over the room, in every position, coach, management, in the room. So that's new. There's just a little bit of a different feel to it. We have some older guys, some more voices in the room, which is nice. So definitely a different feel.
He's an alternate captain. What are the qualities that he brings that make him a good pick for them?
It's just his energy. He brings such an energy to the rink every day. I'm sure you guys can see it on the ice, in practice, in games, in the room. He's a guy that just brings it. And
Maybe just a thought on the Canucks. We know they have young skill, but they've added some veterans and the challenge they might be.
Yeah, they're always a structured team. They're well coached. They play hard. They have some gritty guys all over their lineup. Obviously, bringing in a couple more veterans, which always helps. So they're going to be tough.
Too early to call tonight. It must win.
Obviously, we want to get off to a good start, and it starts tonight.
Thanks, Connor.
I think the guys have done a tremendous job to get on board, and there's been some communication back and forth as to where guys need to be on the ice. But when it comes down to it, you just got to go out there and play and have some fun tonight.
Does it make a difference if you're dealing with older defensemen like Gio and stuff like that in Calgary, or Hamonic, or guys who've been around for a while in terms of your puck handling as opposed to younger defensemen?
I don't think so. Obviously both those guys have been around a long time and are veteran players and have probably seen a lot of things that some of the younger guys haven't. But I'll tell you one thing about this group: they're willing to listen and to learn. So I think that's as an older guy, when you voice your opinion and guys are looking at you in the eyes and asking questions back. I think that's that's a big part of having success as a team. Guys want to learn and get better, and we're all in this together. So like I said, hopefully we get off on the right foot tonight.
Mike, you played under captains like Shane Doan and Giordano. There's been a lot of talk about the leadership in this room over the years, but what's your sense on the leadership and the different voices that are here to kind of steer the ship?
Yeah, it's not just one guy. I think a leadership group is numerous guys, and Connor's been around for quite a few years now, and I think is feeling himself out in the league. But he leads by example more than voicing his opinion. But I think when guys look up to him, and guys, same with Leon, and there's tons of guys in Nursey and Cleffy and Lars. There's guys that have been around, Nuge, that have been in the league a long time, but are still fairly young, players. So I think they feel like they're a big part of this team, and even older guys are looking up to those guys to lead by example and to have a voice. And obviously, as older guys, you want to support those guys as much as you can and let them do their thing. But if you need a little tap in the butt, then you're here for them.
Mike, apologies if you already answered anything like this, but you're a veteran in this league. What's the specialty of opening night?
The specialty?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one thing when you're on the same team every year, but I think going to a new team and seeing the excitement around a new city and a new organization is always special, and especially being in a Canadian market also, and one with so much history like Edmonton has. So I'm super excited to get in there tonight and to hopefully help this team have a great year, and obviously the fans should be excited about the group we have in here today.
New team, you win the starting job, even though you missed a good week of camp. Good camp for you, and I suppose was a goal of yours. Are you happy to get the opening night start?
Honestly, it's just one game as far as I'm concerned. So it's a long season. There's a lot of games. Both guys are going to be needed. Mikko's, done a lot of good things throughout camp. But obviously thrilled to get the opportunity to start opening night. You can't start 82 if you don't start number one. So it's obviously an exciting time for this team, and I'm thrilled to be in the net tonight.
What's the most games you played this season?
You'd have to look that up. I have no. Yeah, in Arizona, I think the first year I got there, I played close to 70, maybe 67, 68. Not including playoffs, but like I said, one game I've learned throughout the course of my career. If you look too far ahead, you're probably going to get bit pretty hard. So my goal this year, and it will be, continuing my career, is to take it one day at a time. Whether it's a practice or game, I'm here to get better and to help this team win, and not look too far ahead.
See, in the West, you need.
If you had a crystal ball and you could look towards the end of the season, where do you see yourself?
If I had a crystal ball, isn't that what you guys got? You guys got the crystal balls, no? I'm just joking. You know what? As you look around the room, we go through camp, and there's been a lot of growth. There's been a lot of change, obviously, within the systems, within some personnel. But there's been a lot of growth within the group, a lot of excitement within the group, and we know what we're capable of, and that starts with our work ethic, and that starts here tonight.
Now, one of the biggest changes in the team is there's no teenagers on this roster for the first time in 11 years. There's actually nobody. Ethan Bear and Connor, the youngest at 22. You came in as a young guy. Just that experience of knowing how to play in the game, and a lot of the guys you brought in are 26, 28, 30 years of age. How much of a difference do you think that aspect can make?
Yeah, that's big because the guys that come in, they've been through the ups and downs. They've been through, they've seen a bunch of different dressing rooms, a bunch of different cultures. So that brings that added experience. Definitely adds to our group, especially when you have an older group. You don't have those roller coaster moments so much throughout the season because you've kind of been through it all. You've played through adversity, you've played through the highs. So that definitely comes into effect. With us here, the main thing is coming together, working as a group, and setting the tone for the whole season tonight.
The comfort level of getting used to Mike's ability to handle the puck. And I've seen you guys work in practice a lot on where to go in situations. How much of an advantage do you think that's going to be? And does it take a lot of extra thinking to get used to having a goalie that active?
It doesn't take. I wouldn't say it takes a lot of thinking. You have to get on the same wavelength, though. That's the one thing. But it makes, I think, anyone who's probably played with Mike or played with one of those really good puck handling goalies, it makes a huge difference. And as a team, it helps you break out a lot better. It's kind of like having the third defenseman back there, and we need to use it to our advantage. And by saying that, we got to be in the right spots for him because we know he can make those plays.
And for you personally, last year you wanted a big onus on being better offensively, and obviously you were. What are the things that you worked on specific this summer that you want to continue to grow and improve in your game?
I don't know if I worked on anything too specific this summer. I continue to watch a lot of film, study the game, and as the summers go on, it's kind of fun. You get back to working on the basic things within hockey, whether it's stick handling, good stick positioning, things like that. There was nothing really I worked on, I would say, specifically, but just trying to define the whole 200-foot game because it's going to be a challenge each and every night going out there and playing against some of the best.
Darnell, it's one game of 82, but it's also number one of 82. In your words, what's so special about opening night?
opening night's like Christmas morning for us. You wake up with a big smile on your face, and but game one is also an opportunity to set the tone for the whole season, and that's the approach we have coming into tonight.
Thanks.
Hey, Dave.
All right. Morning.
Does it feel like Christmas morning to you? Got to be excited. Just
Feels, it's funny, I said to some people earlier, when you start training camp as a new staff and a new group, you feel like training camp's not long enough. Now I felt like it was way too long. Time to get going. So that's how we feel this morning. I think the players are excited to play, get this thing going, and we prepared well. I like the way we prepared in camp. We'll see what we get tonight.
can just get a quick thought on giving Mike the start today. I know he missed a bit of training camp, but you obviously liked what you saw towards the end.
I like what I saw. I have a history with him. I understand where he's coming from. I just think game one we're looking for something different from a lot of different players. We got some different players. I just said we'll give Mike a different goaltender in there, a different look from last year to start the year.
Dave, you stressed several times in the summer and through training camp the goals against have to come down. How confident are you that there are things in place, players have that mentality now that the game start counting in the standing?
Well, to this point, it's other than a few exhibition games, it's just been talk. Now we have to see if we can do it. And there's all the different parts of it. We have to defend well as a group. There's things that you do to defend less that is part of it. Your penalty kill has to, we feel like we have to improve in that area. And just, our overall goaltending performance has to be league average or better, and you put all those things together, and hopefully we can bring that number down without sacrificing anything we have to do offensively to win the game.
Looks like Nygaard gets the early look here with McDavid on that line. What have you seen from him through camp that gives you the confidence to put that guy in that spot?
I've seen him get better every practice, every game. As he gets more familiar with the North American style, North American ice, his tenacity, just relentless on the puck, quickness, are things that our lineup needs. And he's played in that role over in Sweden. We've talked about him, Jurko, a couple of different players there. And it's, I think it's, as I said yesterday, it's an evolving group here. It's an evolving group. We've got 4 guys kind of pegged as what we think are legitimate top 6 guys, but the other guys, we're going to get a feel for where we're at and get a feel for the combinations we have. So sitting here today, if you think these are going to be our lines in game 82, I would second guess that, right? But this is the way we felt like we're going to start with a couple of injury situations, stuff that we're trying to engage our whole lineup, try to make sure we have balanced scoring that can help us throughout the lineup, little things that help the group win. That's what we're looking at.
Do you see yourself tinkering in game and moving things around? Is it fluid?
I always do. I always do. That's part of coaching. That you try to find situations where you can get an advantage. You have situations where you don't want to be taken advantage of. So there's players that you put in certain situations to give yourself the best percentage chance of being successful in that situation. So that's what coaches do. There's always, I know everybody's always fixated on this line, but you watch how the game flows. There's changes that happen. There's sometimes one player that gets inserted on a line that gives it a different dimension. There might be a face-off guy that goes out on a left side or right side that we think is better that night. So all those factors come into play. And, just to say this line plays together all night and that line and this defensive pair plays against this certain players, the game, you can talk about that, but that's not how the game works most nights. There's always fluidity in the game that you have to adjust to. And there's players that I believe that if players are going, they should play more, right? So there's players you're trying to get out on the ice more. There's players that are struggling. They have to play less. That's about winning. That's coaching.
Dave, just a comment on Leon Draisaitl and Darnell Nurse receiving the alternate captains as the team announced yesterday and what they could do for the group as part of the leadership group.
Well, we put long thought into this because there's, we had 2 guys that were assistant captains already. There's a number of guys, like I think Klefbom could easily have an A. In fact, I put Klefbom kind of as one of those leaders in our leadership group, even though he doesn't have a letter. Nurse is a young guy coming up. He's very vocal. I like that vocal part of him. He's a go-getter. He's a guy that's trying to step out and be an elite leader, right? So I like that. We're bringing him along. Leon is a guy that has a lot of respect in that room. He's a guy that dictates a lot about what happens with our team and how we play and the accountability we have to have for Leon and the rest of it. So he's a guy that's, he takes a lot of responsibility. We wanted to make sure he knows that responsibility is for him and the rest of the group in there. So, but like I say, we talked a lot about, we've got a key leadership group of 6 guys, and we've got a support group around them. I like our leadership where it's at. I think there's lots of room for growth in that leadership because some of our leaders are young players, but we feel like we've surrounded them with good people, and hopefully that continues to evolve.
Dave, you mentioned that there's a lot of fluidity in the game. You can't always get the matchup, but as a coach at home, do you look for lot matchups early on, or are you still trying to get a feel of your team, or do you kind of have an idea on who you want in defensive or offensive zones, et cetera?
No, I have an idea of what we want to do, but the game dictates a lot of that. I'm a big believer of, I don't want to stay so hard on matchups you take away flow of your own team. Your own team has to get into it. I don't want players sitting there for extended periods of time because you're trying to get matchups, whether they're top players or bottom 6 players. So it's the flow of the game. There's times when the matchup doesn't mean anything because you want to get your players going, and doesn't matter to me who they play against. There's times when I'd like to see if I can find a matchup that I like that is in our favor defensively, but also you find matchups you like that are in your favor offensively. And in the end, a lot of times when you're matching up, there's a lot of times it'll come down to a factor of your D matchup rather than your forward matchup. So it's from a coaching standpoint, you go through it, you have a feel for your team, the flow of the game, how it's going. When you feel like a matchup gives you the best chance of winning that situation, and when you want to just let's go, let's put it all on our guys to outperform the other guys.
Is there a deep pair that you feel you want to, if possible, be up more with McDavid to create offense?
Yeah, we've talked about scenarios like that, but again, we'll see how the flow of the game goes.
Dave, you don't have very many right shot centers. Is that a problem for a coach when almost all your centers shoot left on for face-offs?
You should just say one.
Well, I was giving you the credit.
You think we're going to use some of those defensemen, do you? Yeah, and you know what? That's the one. With Haas, he's improved as it's gone on here. He's a smart guy. He's improved as it's gone on. We'll monitor that tonight. It's different in exhibition than it is regular season. So, but we have some guys that are capable on the right side. But that's something we're going to have to monitor as we go and make sure we're trying to be as efficient as possible.
Coach, in terms of the team you're matching up against tonight, what are some of the challenges that they present that you have to prepare your club for?
I've watched a lot of tape of them. I've watched them a lot last year. They're a hard-working team. Travis has got them working hard. Their depth at center is pretty strong. They got 2 lefts, 2 rights. They've added some new faces here. I'm interested to see how those guys mix. But for the most part today, we're gearing up on our team. Every team is excited to play with the players they have. You've gone through camp. You've looked at trying to fill holes, trying to mold your group. So our focus will really be on how we're going to be playing. You obviously understand what the other team's trying to do, and you're trying to play against that. But our focus is really on ourselves tonight.
Is that focus somewhat born out of necessity, just in it being opening night and there not being a ton of video to pre-scout?
No, there's lots of video. You can watch teams play in preseason. You can watch how they played last year. There's lots of video, but we're more concerned how we're playing.
And obviously lining up against an assistant coach who you worked with closely in Arizona, Newell Brown, who runs the Canucks power play. Does that give you an edge maybe in preparing for it based on your familiarity there?
You're familiar with it, but how do I know Newell hasn't changed everything this summer, right? I mean, it's inconsequential right now.
Dave, you have 2 of the most offensive, potent weapons in the league. How much of a challenge is it when you present them on separate lines for the other teams to know that it's one or the other coming over the boards, splitting them up, how that can help?
Well, last year you saw what they can do together. It's phenomenal what they can do together, but I think it set a 40-year record for the rest of the forwards not scoring. So those are 2 elite players that are elite together, but hopefully they still have that elite part to them that can help other people be better also. So they'll play together a lot, but they'll play away from each other a lot, and they both help other players be better. That's what elite players do. All right, thanks.